Sir from Waves on B. So today I'm gonna to explain about urinary system. So what is the urinary system? Urinary system also known as the renal system or urinary tract consistent of the kidneys, ureters, bladders and urethra. The purpose of the urinary system is to eliminate waste from the body and regulate blood volume and blood pressure, control level of electrocytes and metabolism, and regulate blood pH. And the urinary tract is the body drainage system for the eventual removal of urine. The kidneys have an extensive blood supply via the renal arteries, veins. Each kidney consists of the functional units called nephrons. Following filtration of blood and further processing, waste exits kidney via the ureterous tubes made of smooth muscle fibers that propel urine towards the urinary bladder, where it is stored and subsequently expelled from the body by urinary voiding. The female and male urinary system are very similar, differing only in the length of urethra. Urine is formed in the kidney through a filtration of blood. The urine is passed through the ureterus to the bladder, and during urination the urine is passed from the bladder through the urethra and outside of the body. It's like around 800 to 2000 milliliters, like what we call them 2k milliliters, of urine are normally produced every day in healthy human. This is amount of in every human is rate of urine in every day 800 milliliter to 2000 milliliter. So whereas according to fluid intake the kidney functions. So now we're gonna to talk about structure. The urinary system refers to the structure that produce and transport urine to the point of action. In the human urinary system there are two kidneys that are located between the dorsal body wall and peritoneum, and both of the left and right sides. The formation of urine begins within functional unit of the kidney, the nephrons. Urine then flow through the nephrons through a system of converging tubules called collecting ducts. These collecting ducts then join together to form the minor cycles and followed by the major cycles that ultimately join the renal pelvis. From here urine continues its flow from the renal pelvis in the ureter, transporting urine into the urinary bladder. The anatomy of the human urinary system differs between males and females. At the level of the urinary bladder, in males the urethra begins into the internal orifice in the trigone of the bladder continuously through the external urethral orifice, and then becomes the skin and intestines to maintain to the balance of chemical and water in the body. Adults element about 27 to 68 fluids ounces and 800 to 2000 milliliters per day. That means to say like 1 liter to 2 liter per day based on typical daily fluid intake to the 2 liters National Institutes of NIH. Other factors in the urinary system functions include fluid loss through perspiring and breathing. In addition, certain type of medications such as durex and sometimes used to treat high blood pressure can also affect the amount of urine a person produces and eliminates some of beverages such as coffee and alcohol can also cause increased urination in the some people. The primary organ of the urinary system are the kidneys, which are being shaped organ that are located just below the rib cage in the middle of the back. The kidneys remove urea waste product from the breakdown of proteins and from the blood through small filtering units called nephrons. According to the Cleveland Clinic, each nephron consists of a ball formed of small capillaries called glomerulus and a small tube called a renal tube. Urea together with water and other waste substance forms of the urine as it passes through the nephrons and down the renal tubules of the kidney. From the kidney urine travel down to thin tubes and called ureters to the bladder, and the ureters is about 8 to 10 inches long according to the Cleveland Clinic. So muscles in the ureters falls continuously tighten and relax to force urine away from the kidneys, and according to the NIH and a backup and cause a kidney infection and small amount of urine impeded and about the 10 to 15 seconds. The bladder is hollow, the balloon shaped and organ that is located in the pelvis in the head, held in place by ligaments and attached to no other organ and the pelvic bones. According to the Kidney and Urology Foundation of America and the bladder story, urine staying in the bladder of the person in the radio of impurity. A normal healthy bladder can hold up to 6 ounces of urine comfortably for 2 to 5 hours. To prevent leakage, circulatory muscles called sphincters tightly around the opening of the bladder into the urethra and the tubes. External urethral meatus. The female urethra is much shorter, beginning at the bladder neck and terminating in the vaginal vestibule. So development of urinary system. So I'm going to talk about development of urinary system. The development of the urinary system begins during parental development and relates to the development of the urogenital system. Both the organs of the urinary system and the sex organs of the reproductive system and the development continues as a part of sexual differentiation. The urinary and reproductive organs are developed from the intermediate mesoderm. The permanent organs of the adult are processed by a set of structures which are purely embryonic and which, with the expectation of the ducts, disappear almost entirely before birth. These embryonic structures are on either sides the pronephrons, the mesonephrons and metanephrons of the kidney, and the Wolffian and Murillian ducts of the sex organ. The pronephrons disappears very early. So the structural elements of the mesonephrons mostly degenerate, but the gonads is developed in their remain is the duct in males, and the Mullerian is that of the female. Some of the tubules of the mesonephrons from part of the permanent kidney. So this is that was the about all about that development about that urinary system. So now I'm going to talk about functions of urinary system. So what is there is main functions of the urinary system. The main function of the urinary system and its components are to regulate blood volumes and compositions, like example sodium, potassium and calcium. Regulate blood pressure, maintain blood pressure also, like high bp, low bp, and regulate pH, homeostasis of the blood. Urinary system also regulating pH, homeostasis of the blood, and contributes of the production of red blood cells and RBC, contributing to production in RBC cells by the kidney. And one more, I think, helps synthesize cholesterol. I think vitamin, active from vitamin D, and urine formation. So now I'm going to talk about urine formation. What is urine formation? Average urine production in adult human in about 1 to 2 liter per day, depending on state of hydration, activity level, environmental factors, weight, individual health. Producing too much or too little urine requires medical attention. Polyuria is a condition of exclusive urination production. I think there is less than 2.5 liter per day, and oliguria when around more than 400 ml are produced, and anuria one of the 100 less than 100 ml per day. So the first step in urine formation is the filtration of blood in the kidneys. In a healthy human, the kidneys receives between 12 and 30% of cardiac output, but it averages about 20% or about 1.25 liters per minute around. So the basic structural and functional units of kidney in the nephrons, its chief function is to regulate the concentration of water and stimulate substance like sodium by filtering the blood, reobserving. And what is needed about this one reset is urine excreting in the first part of nephron. Bowman's capsules filter blood from the circulatory system into the tubules, like what we call that one hydrostatic osmotic presses. Guardians facilities filtration across a semi-permeable membrane. The filtrate include water, small molecules, and iron, and easily pass through the filtration membrane. However, larger molecules such as protein and blood cells are prevented from passing through, and the filtration through, and the filtration includes water, small molecules, and that easily pass through the filtration membrane. However, larger molecules and such as proteins and blood cells are prevented from passing through the filtration membrane, and the amount of filtrate produced every minute is 180 liter per day. About 99% of the filtrate is reobserved as it is passed through that nephron, and the remaining 1% becomes urine. The urinary system is regulated by the endocrine system by hormones such as antidiuretic hormones, aldosterone, parathyroid, and hormones. So that's was the all about that one, and I'm going to explain about now urination. So urination, what is urination? Urination is ejection of urine from the urinary bladder through the urethra to the outside of the blood in healthy human and may other animal, and the process of urination is under voluntary control. In infants, some elderly individual, and those with neurological injuries, urinations may occur as involuntary reflex physiologically microturations and involves coordinations between the central autonomic and somatic nervous system and brain centers, and the regulator urination include the pontine microtuition and center and perqueductal gray and the cerebral cortex in the placental mammal. The male ejects urine through the penis and the female through the vulva. So that's it, guys. I explain now for urinary system. So thank you, guys. I hope you like my video. Thank you, everyone.